Response is the member from Oshawa.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It is always my privilege to stand in the legislature and to bring voice on important issues. And today I'm standing as the NDP critic for community safety and correctional services, and I'm very pleased to also add my voice and welcome our colleagues from corrections who are here to recognize the work they do and to thank them very much for joining us today. This week is being recognized as Corrections Week, and today is Probation and Parole Day. We also just celebrated or recognized First Responders Day on May 1st. So I would like to echo some of the sentiments from May 1st and First Responders Day, because our correctional workers are first responders and high-stress frontline service providers, and I want to fully recognize and thank them. We are safe and secure and go about our lives and go about our business. We tuck in our kids, we participate in our communities, and we make plans. We're able to do that because our first responders work day in and day out to ensure that our society is safe, protected, and secure. Our corrections workers are essential, maybe not officially, that's coming, but the work they do is, and it is important to recognize it. The impossible decisions that they have to make, the violent and traumatizing realities that they're faced with every day, and the truths that they know and the pain that they carry can never be measured. Thank you doesn't seem like a sufficient way to express our appreciation. I'm glad to be able to comment on the corrections file. It's a massive file, incidentally. In fact, Mr. Speaker, you might remember a time when it used to be its own portfolio before it was sort of tucked in and wrapped in with community safety, tucked in a back corner, locked away. And only recently has this Liberal government recognized that they have the key. And finally, there is more focus on the crisis in corrections. The public is paying more attention and having a better understanding of how corrections connects to all of our public systems, not just from what they learn on Netflix or in the movies, but they're actually getting real information, which makes all the difference. Speaker, I traveled around the province and have visited 15 of our jails and about a dozen of our probation and parole offices. I saw dire need. I saw deplorable conditions, and I saw firsthand what government neglect looks like, but I also saw commitment. I saw professionalism and corrections workers, officers and staff who work hard under dangerous, highly stressful environments. It isn't enough to appreciate. We need to support when it comes to safety, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to training, protective equipment, staffing, and effective and appropriate policies and ministry practices. We know there's a crisis in corrections. We've been calling on this government to address overcrowding and understaffing. I want to touch on that again. Our jails are terribly understaffed. Our probation and parole offices are struggling under immense caseloads. People living and working in our jails and working in the correctional system are asking for the same things because basic fundamental needs are not being met. The ministry is talking about hiring, and hiring is an important part of the story, but they need to be responsible employers and make sure that levels are appropriate as officers retire, as they leave the job. Levels have to be maintained to continue to meet the needs. Today is Probation and Parole Day as well. Our probation and parole officers are high-stress service providers who keep track of all of our former offender neighbours, and they do their best to keep them out of trouble in our communities and with insufficient resources. We've talked about Bill 163 and presumptive coverage, recognizing PTSD in those who've been diagnosed, and we left out many of our frontline service providers. We left out our bailiffs. We left out our probation and parole officers, and that needs to be fixed. I have so many thoughts, and I'm running out of time. So I will speak to the announcement today because we need to focus on safety fundamentally. I know that the Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services would really like for me to send flowers and to thank the ministry for the body scanners, but I'm not going to send flowers. However, what I will say is that since I've been elected, I actually haven't seen a process where there has been, like this one, health and safety concerns for years because metal detectors aren't enough, a pilot project that correctional officers have come to committee, letters to the minister. They've had that feedback. There have been regular reports of the death and overdoses, slashings and stabbings, that staff and inmates are suffering the violent effects or the effects of a violent and unsafe workplace. And so for the minister to follow through on this commitment, I've actually never seen that before from this government, so I will acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I wish I had more time. I have so many things to say. Thank you for all you do.